The promise of this training is big, but simple. I'm about to reveal the fastest and most predictable way to grow your business, increase your impact, and change the world. This is the same system that we have used to take our business from $0 to $10 million in the last 3 years. The system that I have shared with our customers, people like Damon John, Michael Hyatt, Dean Graziosi, Shalene Johnson, Grant Cardone, Hal Elrod, JJ Virgin, and thousands of other students. If you have a business that you're looking to take to the next level, a message you want to share, or an idea you know will make a difference, you're in the right place. I might share some ideas you've never heard. They might contradict everything you've learned about growing your business. Stick with me. I've proven this model for over 16 years. It might not be as trendy as Snapchat or whatever the platform of the day is, but it's timeless and it's recession-proof. What is it? Stages. They've been around for over 2,000 years. Even longer since the beginning of time, people have used stages to grow their business and get their message out to the world. They have been and will continue to be the fastest and most predictable way to grow your business, and today we have quite the advantage over Socrates. Now you're not limited to offline and in-person stages. There is a whole world of online stages that you can use to grow your business as well. And in this training series, I'm sharing the complete A to Z system so you can use online and offline stages to grow your business for free. Hi, I'm Pete Vargas, the founder of Advance Your Reach and the creator of the Stage to Scale method. Welcome to the Why Stages Workshop, the fastest and most predictable way to grow your business. No one is talking about this. At the very end of 2015, when I was launching our company, Advance Your Reach, I went through what so many of you experienced. We tried blogging. We tried Facebook ads. We built a website. We even launched a course. We spent tens of thousands of dollars on all the trendy things that the gurus were talking about. But the timing was wrong. And we made no money, but spent a lot. Do you know how that feels? To try everything? The things that experts are telling you to do and have none of it work? How much money have you spent on courses and coaching promising to be the silver bullet? Or maybe you have a successful business, but you're starting to see your ad spend go up and your results go down. For me, nothing worked. This was ironic because I was known as the Stage Whisperer and had spent 13 years helping other people build their businesses with stages. And at this point in my business, I was trying everything but stages. Why? Well, we're gonna need to go back a bit further and help you understand why I care about your business and your message. You see, my earliest memory as a kid was mom on one side, dad on the other, and they were yelling and screaming at who was gonna keep me and who was gonna keep my sister. We were in the inner city of Dallas. My parents were getting divorced, and they were fighting over me and my sister. And that day, my dad got me and my mom got my sister. And it started this abusive relationship with my dad and I for the next 6 years. I remember living with my dad, and I remember being in 2nd grade and him having to work on the weekend and not have money for babysitting. So he told me to be brave, and he left me at my trailer all by myself. I remember how scared I was. I also remember those times that he took me to bars and other places that no elementary kid should ever see. But the memory that's one of the hardest for me is every single time that the Dallas Cowboys lost, I would hide because I knew what that meant for me. Finally, my grandmother said, enough is enough, you're coming to live with me, and she took me away from my dad, and I went and lived with my grandmother. And it was incredible because she loved me, she took care of me, she's one of my heroes. But if you come from a broken relationship, you realize that one of the things that you want is to make things right with your mom or dad. I'm sure many of you come from that. And my heart goes out to you because I've been there. And my dad came back into my life in my middle school and high school years. And I wanted to do everything I could to make things right with my dad. We would take him to church. His 7 siblings and his mom and dad would constantly tell him to make things right with me. We went to counseling. We tried so many things and nothing worked. And I gave up on my dad because I thought I'm never gonna have a relationship with him. And I know a lot of you have given up on that message that you're trying to take into the world, and I'm asking you, make it through this workshop. Watch what happens as a result of this workshop and how it will change the dynamic, and it will change your life and your business forever. I went to college and I thought I was gonna be the next Jerry Maguire. I wanted to represent athletes that could make a difference in the world because Emmitt Smith and David Robinson had made such an impact on me as a little kid. And I thought, what if I could represent these athletes and then they could get their messages out and change the world? Little did I know it wasn't athletes that I was gonna represent, it was you. It was you and your message and getting your message to the world. And I didn't continue pursuing that dream because I had to go to law school and I didn't like school. And so instead I got my business degree. And I got my business degree and I got a great business and corporate job in Dallas, Texas. It was gonna pay me really well and I thought, this is it. And then I got a call from my pastor, and my pastor said, our youth group is shrinking, we don't have a lot of kids coming anymore, and we want you to be the youth pastor. And it paid no money. And I thought, good money, great job. Sounds like an okay job, but no money. And I don't know why to this day, but I chose this. It didn't make sense up here, but it made sense right here. And I went over and I took over as youth pastor. And my first Wednesday night there, I was so excited, but I was nervous because I was speaking for the very first time. And I thought there would be dozens of kids there. And there were 3 kids there, Jory, Stacy, and Mackenzie. And I looked at those girls and I said, we are gonna grow this youth group. And how we're gonna do it is we are going to bring in speakers. And those girls believed me and they got behind me. A couple of things about that first Wednesday night. I was scared to speak. And I'm sure some of you have the fear of speaking. And don't worry, we're gonna help you overcome that in this workshop series. Because over the next 4 years, we brought speaker after speaker after speaker into our youth group. And our youth group began to grow. And our youth group went from 3 kids to 800 kids. 800 kids on a Wednesday night in a town of 15,000 people because of the speakers on those stages that would change the lives of my kids. Every speaker I brought in, my youth group would grow. And one of the speakers I brought in, about the 20th speaker that I brought in, his name was Daryl Scott, and his daughter was the first girl killed at Columbine back in 1999. She left her family with 6 diaries and a paper called My Ethics, My Codes of Life that she wrote 1 month before she was killed at Columbine. And one of my mentors said, you've got to bring this speaker in. And I brought him in, and I was so excited. I was on the front row at Hereford High School waiting for him to speak. I knew my kids at Hereford High School were gonna be impacted, and I knew my youth group was gonna grow even more because of this speaker. But this day it was personal. His final challenge, he said, there's 5 people in your life that you need to go tell them how much you love them. And I was like, that's easy. My wife, my best friend, a few of my coworkers. And then he gave that like convicting thing. He said, some of them you're not in good standings with. And those are the ones I want you to go tell how much you love them. And I want you to bring them back tonight to the community event because I want to speak to them. He said, do you realize on April 20th, 1999, I had no idea that was going to be the last day that I saw my daughter. And you don't know when the last day is that you're going to see these people. So if they're in town, bring them tonight. And if they're not, tell them you love them. And the only person I could think about was my dad. It was no longer the 5 people, it was the 1 person. I did not like my dad. I didn't. He did some bad things to me. And I thought, I'm not going to tell him I love him. He should tell me he loves me. I'm 23 years old. He should tell me that he's sorry for the things that he did. And then I got that junk out of my head and I said, I'm gonna bring my dad back. And that night, I begged and pleaded my dad to come back to the night event. And he came back and we sat on the back row and he listened. And he didn't, at the end of the presentation, there were 1,000 people in the auditorium and my dad didn't say a word to me, not one. And I saw all these parents and grandparents hugging their kids and hugging their grandkids, but my dad didn't say anything to me. And I thought, if that doesn't do it, I don't know what will. My dad didn't say anything that day. But a few days later, my wife and I got a letter in the mail from my dad. And it said, "I'm sorry for the father I've been. Here my son is having an impact on hundreds of kids' lives, and I can't have an impact on my only son's life. He asked me for a second chance to do things right. Remember that." And he told me that he loved me multiple times. And my mind was blown. And that was the day that I realized the power of the stage. My wife and I were both crying. We couldn't believe it. I'm reading this letter and I'm thinking to myself, what just happened? And I realized that it was a stage that prompted my dad to take action, to do something that I had wanted him to do for 20 plus years. To say he's sorry and to tell me that he loves me. And he did that because of a stage. My youth group grew because of speakers on a stage. Your business will grow like never before because of stages. That was the day that I dedicated my life to stages for the rest of my life. And my first action was to call that man. And I said, "Daryl, why aren't you sharing this message with more people across the world? This message is so powerful." And he went on to tell me, "Pete, I have this message. I believe I can transform climate and culture in schools all across the world and in corporations. And I know I have the message. And I know you watching, you know you have the message." And I said, "Daryl, why don't we get you on stages in front of your ideal audience? You deliver a powerful message and watch how many customers take you up on it." He said, "Yeah, that sounds cool, but I don't know how to do that." I said, "Well, I'm gonna figure it out." And that was when the Stage to Scale method was born. And we began to figure things out. We win him some stages, and the very first stage that we put him on, it generated more revenues in that stage than he had in the past 12 months of his organization. Actually, 5 times as much revenues as the last 12 months trying all of these other things. And that is when we knew the Stage to Scale method would work. We helped take him from $50,000 to close to $7 million in revenues, with stages being the #1 customer acquisition channel. For 13 years, we figured this system out for Daryl Scott and Rachel's Challenge. He was the first of thousands of customers that we've been able to introduce to this system. In 2018, we as a company set a big, hairy, audacious goal to help our students get on 1 million stages by 2027. Why? Because I can't change the world myself, but together we can. Since then, in only a year and a half, our students who consume this same workshop as you have collectively booked almost 50,000 stages. This is not about being a professional speaker. This is about a stage moving the needle in your business. When I started Advance Your Reach, I ignored the power of stages for 2 reasons. First, I was scared to speak. I had been the wizard behind the curtain for 13 years, helping other people grow their businesses through stages. Even though I knew the power, I still resisted being the guy on the stage. Second, like so many entrepreneurs, I got distracted by all the bright, shiny, and trendy marketing mediums out there. Great tactics, but not the right time to implement them. What marketing mediums are you using in your business to attract customers and create revenue? How are they working for you? How confident are you that they will be here in 10 years? Think about door-to-door selling or cold calling or fax machines or yellow pages or classified ads, TV ads, radio ads. They used to work really well, but now you don't see people investing in them like they used to. In fact, some of these mediums are extinct. Now, don't turn and run and shut down your Facebook ads and sell your stock. I'm not saying Facebook is going anywhere, but it is getting harder and more expensive to consistently and predictably get customers from paid advertising. Just a few years ago, I was learning this firsthand. I had helped so many people use stages to grow their business, but didn't feel ready to get on stage myself. I tried all of the other ways. I was spending tens of thousands of dollars on other mediums and it wasn't working. Finally, I decided to turn to stages. In 2016, we launched with our first online stage. And when I got done with my presentation from this one online stage and walked into the conference room with my team, they told me we had already made 5 figures. All of these other mediums where I was spending 5 figures and so much time and so much money and nothing was working. And this one stage changed it all. From that point on, we started walking our talk and haven't looked back since. In 2017, we had our first 2 6-figure stages. In 2018, we had our first 7-figure stage. And then in February of 2019, after being in business for just a few years, I spoke at the world's largest entrepreneur stage, the 10X GrowthCon conference. There were 30,000 people in the audience. I was surrounded by famous entrepreneurs and personalities like Grant Cardone and Damon John and Bethany Frankel, Steve Harvey, John Maxwell, Sarah Blakely, Jesse Itzler, Ty Lopez, Russell Brunson, and I can't even remember them all. Those are just some of them. And even Snoop Dogg was there. Most of the audience recognized all of those speakers. Remember when I said that stages are the #1 way to stop being your industry's best kept secret? That day, on that stage, we generated multiple 7 figures from that stage. Not because I was famous, but because it was obvious that if my system could win a no-name like me that stage, then I was on to something big for my customers. You. Even the other speakers that were on that stage, all of those famous people that I talked about, they saw how we crushed it, and now over 50% of them are our clients. The system they bought into is the same system we are sharing with you in this workshop for free. Since the dawn of time, people have spread messages and ignited movements from a stage. Franklin D. Roosevelt ended a depression. Winston Churchill was able to save an entire country back during World War II. Martin Luther King brought us the civil rights movement. John F. Kennedy took us to the moon. The smartest and most successful leaders in history have used stages to build a better future for humanity. But it doesn't stop there. Entrepreneurs have used stages too. Steve Jobs started Apple by hopping on local stages and talking to people about computers. And as the company grew, he continued to speak on stages. Every time Apple launched a new product, he drew in thousands of people on a live stage with millions more watching online, creating desire and demand for Apple's new products. My friend Russell Brunson, the founder of ClickFunnels, generated over $3 million last year from one talk on one stage. That's over 1,000 new customers' lives that he's impacting. And what about the TED Talk phenomenon? It started with influencers, and now TEDx has extended to over 28,000 events worldwide, and that number is climbing. And those folks that have spoken at those events now have over 1 billion views online. This movement has launched careers, books, companies, films. No matter how much technology advances or how many new mediums are introduced, stages are here to stay. And guess what? You don't need to be famous, or you don't need to go down in the history books to change the world. Normal people just like us are using stages today to launch and grow their business and make an impact in the world. This includes experts and coaches and service providers. I think about one of our clients, Stu McLaren, whose software called Wishlist Member was launched from one stage. Or Molly Grubb, a financial advisor who has grown her practice by just getting on local stages. I think about people who have marketing agencies like Brad Martineau, who launched their business with a stage. And I think about nonprofits like New Story, who were on one stage in front of 1,000 people and generated 7 figures for their nonprofit. And now they get to build hundreds of homes in third world countries. So why do stages work so well? 2 words: human connection. We've never been so connected to technology, but disconnected from each other.
Who can tell me something they did today?
I drew a horsey.
Good for you, son.
It's easier than ever to get your message published, but getting it heard, on the other hand, is more challenging than ever before. But when you're on a live stage, the dynamics completely change. You have people's undivided attention for 15, 30, 45, or even 60 minutes. And now, with technology, you can have online face-to-face meetings through online stages like webinars, social media live streams. You can even use applications like Zoom for one-on-one conversations. You see, my friend Todd Herman told me, Pete, I would rather be on one stage with 25 people, 25 of the right people in the audience, than get 1 million unqualified views on a video that I post on Facebook. This isn't just about getting people's attention, it's about a system that can predictably acquire customers. Acquiring leads and converting customers is the lifeblood of every business. The real reason so many businesses fail is they never find their revenue generating stride, and they run out of either capital or commitment. The conversion rates from stages speak for themselves. Online, if you get a 3% conversion rate, they think that's good. But with stages, we see our customers get 10 to 20% conversion rate regularly. We often see 70 to 90% of the people opt in after they hear you on a stage. And those leads are the best leads that you can possibly have. Why stages? Speaking on stages shrinks the sales cycle. You don't have to create some complex marketing funnel, and you don't have to nurture prospects for a year or 2 years before they finally decide to go deeper with you. In 1 hour, yes, 1 hour on a stage, you can generate 5, 6, and even 7 figures. I've seen people earn more revenue from 60 minutes on one stage than they did the last 12 months in their business, or from the launch that took them 6 to 9 months to do. Just ask our student Karen Worstel, who had a very successful career in tech, including having been Microsoft's Chief Information Security Officer. When she retired, she promised her husband that she would replace both of their incomes in the next 6 months. And guess what? She crossed the 6-figure mark in 6 months with stages. Today, you are gonna learn what is a dream stage, how do I find them, Pete, and how do I win them? When most people think of a stage, they picture a major conference with a spotlight on them and a crowd with thousands of people. And yes, that is definitely a stage, but it's only scratching the surface. There are so many stages out there. A stage is any offline or online medium where a person is getting their message out to many people at one time. And there are no shortage of stages. They are everywhere. There are offline and in-person stages and online and virtual stages. No matter what your niche is or what type of business you have, there are stages for you. It doesn't matter if you're an expert, a coach, a service provider, there are plenty of stages to go around. Stages are everywhere. There are 8 types of offline stages and 8 types of online stages. And guess what? You don't need to be on them all. You just need 1 or 2 offline stages and 1 or 2 online stages, and it will be game changer for you. Last year, we did 15 offline stages and hundreds of online stages, and that generated so much business for our company. You see, the power of the online stages is they gave me the freedom to be on a stage from the comfort of my home office so that I did not miss those moments that are most important to me with my kids. And the power of the offline stages, by just doing 15 of those, made me be able to connect deeper with my audience. See, your next stage could be a Facebook Live, it could be a coffee meeting, it could be a one-on-one presentation, a breakout session, or even an online interview. The most effective revenue-generating stage is what we call a dream stage. You might hear those words and think it means getting on Oprah or speaking at the White House. And it could be that. We've actually booked both of those stages, but it doesn't have to be that. A dream stage is where the majority of the audience is your ideal client. They need your message and they need what you have to offer. A dream stage with 100 people, 100, will change the dynamic of your business forever. You might be saying, Pete, I'm not famous. Who's gonna put me on their stage? Well, I'm not famous either. And Daryl Scott wasn't famous when we started putting him on stages. Today, we're getting to work with some very big names that many of you would know. The majority of our business is dedicated to everyday business owners and entrepreneurs like you and me, to spread your messages and to grow your business. Over the past 3 years, I've used dream stages to take our company from 0 to $10 million. Getting up on that stage is not about being famous. Getting up on that stage is about you solving a problem for the person who controls the stage. Now, to find your dream stages, we've done all the research for you. We've done all of the hard work. And so all you have to do is download below our ultimate stage guide that has thousands of stages categorized by niche and industry. There are stages in your backyard that you don't even have to travel to. Our team spent hundreds of hours doing the research for this guide, and there isn't anything in the market that exists like this. I want you to download the guide and circle 2 to 3 online stages and 2 to 3 offline stages that are dream stages for you and your message. And I want you to share down below, leaving a comment telling us what your dream stages are. Now that you know your dream stages, it's time to win them. Using our process, we have directly booked over 25,000 stages. And since we've taken this training to the market in 2018, our students have collectively booked almost 50,000 stages. So how do I win stages, Pete? What you see on the screen is our exact campaign that is responsible for taking the best kept secrets and all of a sudden making them household names by getting you on stages. And you see, there's a lot to this campaign, but it boils down to a few key things that I want you to know. You see, there's this person that controls the stage, and they're called the meeting planner. And I have over 10,000 hours on the phone with meeting planners over the last 15 years. And the number one thing that will get you hired on a stage is by showing them that you can solve a problem for them and their audience. Because when you knock it out of the park for them, all of their people are coming up and saying, thank you for hiring this person. And so what you've got to make a decision on today is there are 5 mediums that you can communicate across. You can communicate through direct mail, email, phone, social media, or video. All you have to do is choose one of those 5 mediums and begin to consistently reach out through that medium and clearly show them the problem you can solve for them. That's how you win a stage. I don't want you trying to implement this entire campaign because there's a lot to it. I want you implementing one piece of it and beginning to win stages on demand. You might be thinking, that's great, Pete. You've shown me what a dream stage is, how to find them, and how to win them. But what do I say when I get on the stage? Or maybe the fear monster's whispering into your minds, I'm scared to get on a stage, Pete. I would rather die than get on a stage. Or am I gonna have to sell from stage? I don't wanna be sleazy from a stage. Don't worry. I know all of those thoughts might be coming up because they came up for me as well, but we're going to help you overcome all of them. Years ago, I was scared to speak in front of 3 high school students as a youth pastor. And this year, I spoke in front of 30,000 people. On that stage, you might be thinking, my proudest moment was the 30,000 people that I spoke in front of, or the multiple 7 figures that we generated. But the reality was, the proudest moment I had on that stage was them putting my dad on the big screen at the very end and seeing him in tears and him getting a standing ovation because of the father that he was once and now the father that he is today, so powerful. And that would have never been possible if 16 years ago, one man on one stage that my dad heard speak, had he not heard that man, the impact on my dad's life would have never happened. I know you have a message to share. I know you have an impact to make. And we are here to help make that happen and make sure that stages become a major part of your business and the way that you're getting your message out to the world. Today, you learned that stages are everywhere, and now it's time to be great on stage. Next time, I will teach you the exact framework that helped me go from this to this. And I'm going to introduce you to my secret weapon, and my coach who helped me has helped thousands of our students, and JJ Virgin agrees with us. You'll walk away from the next training with your signature talk designed, the greatest marketing tool you have in your business that you will begin to use every single day, and you're gonna have a chance to win one of our $9,800 workshops, all expenses paid. But the benefits don't stop there. You'll see how you're already on a stage every day, and you will know exactly how to rock every stage that you're on. The first time I was on a stage was at a Brendon Burchard event, and I only had 3 minutes. I was sweating, shaking, and I was scared to death to speak. This was one of the very first times that I had ever spoke, but I did it. I spoke to their hearts, I taught them something, and I closed in an inspirational way. At the end, I received a standing ovation, and that was the day the Story Braid framework was born. And by the end of today's training, you will know how to use it as well. This framework isn't just for keynotes or speaking from a stage. It can be used for a podcast, a 15-minute prospecting call, a 3-minute video, a networking event, an interview, a Facebook Live with your audience, a work meeting, a coffee date. You can even use it with your own kids. You can use it on a sales call. You can use it to tell a great story amongst friends, and you can even use it to write a blog post or put it on a YouTube channel. It's not a formula just for a big stage. It's a fundamental shift in how you communicate and how you connect with everyone in your life. And it is a game changer when used from a stage. I used the StoryBraid framework a few weeks ago when I was attending a Michael Hyatt event. As a result of using it, now Michael Hyatt is one of our biggest partners. In fact, you might be watching this video because of him. One of our students, David, didn't have any stages coming up after he heard us teach about this, but he did have some sales coming up. And so he StoryBraided 5 sales conversations, and he closed 2 of them, resulting in $175,000 for his business. Another student of ours, Jill Stanton, uses this every time she's on a podcast or anytime she creates a piece of content. Today, we are teaching you the complete framework that you will begin to use day in and day out on every stage you're on, both offline stages and online stages. And we will be introducing a challenge where you have the chance to win one of our $9,800 workshops, including travel and expenses. So make sure you are paying attention and taking great notes, because at least one of you will be winning something amazing. Welcome back to our workshop, Why Stages, the fastest and most predictable way to grow your business. I'm Pete Vargas, the founder of Advance Your Reach and the creator of the Stage to Scale method. I've spent the past 16 years helping people grow their business through stages. In part 1, we talked about the power of stages being everywhere, both online and offline, and what is possible with your dream stages. We've used and optimized our system to win over 25,000 stages and generate tens of millions of dollars. Our students have used our process to book almost 50,000 stages since 2018. These are the same strategies you can apply to land your dream stage and experience major growth in your business. Today, in part 2, I'm joining you from the stage, where you will learn how to be great on stage. You'll know exactly what to say when you're on a stage, and not just the theory of it. You will map out the greatest marketing tool you have in your toolbox, your signature talk. And you'll learn all the places you can use this, and it's not just up here. One of the greatest investors of all time, Warren Buffett, said that you can improve your value and your company's value by 50% just by learning how to be a great speaker. A 50% ROI is almost unheard of in the stock market, even for an incredible investor like Warren Buffett himself. There's no better investment you can make in your business and in yourself than mastering your signature talk. You see, Warren Buffett made this investment when he began his career. He knew that public speaking was something he had to get better at. So he enrolled in a class to improve his speaking skills. Actually, he enrolled in it twice. The first time he quit because of the fear of speaking. Nowadays, people flock from all over the world to hear the Sage of Omaha himself. One of the greatest ways to increase your value is to become an incredible speaker. You might be ready to go saying, "Yes, Pete, tell me how to be an incredible speaker." Or maybe you're already great on stage and you're excited to up your game. Or maybe you're thinking, "This is great, dude, but no way I'm speaking on a stage." If you're scared to speak on stage, you are in good company. Warren Buffett, Eleanor Roosevelt, Princess Diana, Shonda Rhimes, and so many others were scared to speak too, including me. I was terrified. In my 16 years of doing this, I've never met one speaker in my career who does not experience fear or nervousness to some extent. Shonda Rhimes, the creator of Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, and the founder of Shondaland, shares in her book that she was so terrified of filming a segment with Oprah that she doesn't even remember it. Imagine meeting Oprah and being so freaked out that you forgot. Her fear was so extreme that she would shake and sweat up a storm and even cry every time she was on stage. But she overcame her fear and she's inspired millions. I think about one of our students, Jill Stanton. A couple of years ago, I saw her speaking in a small group with 2 or 3 people. And she was so powerful in that conversation that I got goosebumps just hearing her speak to those people. And I looked at her and I said, Jill, you should be on stages. And she said, no way. I'm terrified of it. There is no way I would ever be on a stage. I let her know it's no different than having a conversation. All you need is one great signature talk. I'm gonna say that again. All you need is one great signature talk. And she got it, and I hope that you got it as well. You don't need many talks. You need to get one talk dialed in. When you dial in one signature talk, it will be game changer for your business. For 13 years, I was the wizard behind the curtain, winning the stages and generating revenues from those stages for our customers. But I was never the one on the stage. I knew the power of the system we developed and how many people it could impact. And I had a message. But I was nervous and shy and even terrified to speak. I didn't know how to get good at it. I was afraid because I was never the one on the stage. Hear me on this. I had a lot of fear around speaking. And a big piece of that had to do with my weight and a lot of other self-talk that I was telling myself. I had a self-identity that I wasn't supposed to be the one on the stage, and I didn't think I had the skill set to be the one on the stage. Why not just be the guy who keeps putting everybody on stage? But I had to figure it out. I had to find some help. I had to get some type of system that would allow me, some type of structure, some type of formula that would allow me to be great on stage. And I figured there has to be a great framework. So I searched out the masters, I hired coaches, I went to every training and every workshop I could find. Each training was good. Well, most of them were good. Some of them not so good. But the problem with all of the trainings is they were either teaching you to, hey, tease your audience, but don't teach them. No way. Others were like so salesy and made you feel so sleazy that it was like, no way I'm ever doing a talk that way. And then there were some that were good, but they were only teaching one piece of the signature talk. And I said, we are gonna have a system that helps people have the entirety, because no one taught all of the components of a great signature talk. Enter my secret weapon, Pat Quinn. Pat helped me go from this to this. What a difference the right coach can make. Pat is now the head coach here at Advance Your Reach, and he leads our Signature Talk workshops. He's worked with Olympic athletes, New York Times best-selling authors, and some of the very best speakers in the world to improve their presentation skills and help them effectively deliver their message and reach more people.
I gotta tell you, Pat Quinn, I have worked with the most amazing speaking coaches, and I kept hearing about Pat Quinn, and I'm like, he is flipping amazing.
He's going to teach you the StoryBraid framework that we have created here at Advance Your Reach that gives you the entire signature talk. But this isn't just for speaking from a stage like this. Like I mentioned at the start of this training, you can use the StoryBraid framework like David did to close big deals on the phone. You can use it like Jill and I do for every piece of content you create, from Facebook Lives to 3-day events. And today, you can use it to win one of our $9,800 workshops. We'll give you all of the details at the end of this video, but pay attention as Pat teaches the framework.
Thanks, Pete. Hi, I'm Pat Quinn, and I actually didn't get my start as a professional speaker. I got my start as a professional magician and worked magic professionally for 10 years. After that, I became a public school teacher and taught high school math for 12 years. During that time, I picked up an advanced degree in how adults learn, and so I really bring two things to the table. The first is a little bit of stagecraft from my years of doing magic, and the second is a real understanding of how adults learn, how an audience receives your information, how an audience hears your presentation. I'm hyper-focused on the audience because my goal is not that you would get a standing ovation, although I think you might. My goal is not that people would come up to you afterwards and say, "Wow, you're a really good speaker," although I think they will. Our goal is that the audience would want to engage with you after your presentation. I've been fortunate enough to work with some of the greatest speakers in the world, but most of the people I work with are not professional speakers. Most of the people I work with are business owners, entrepreneurs, people who want to grow their following, grow their business, grow their impact through speaking. The StoryBraid framework is a 4-part framework for your signature talk. Each of the 4 parts has a distinct purpose and a distinct place in your talk. And so let's go through the 4 parts of a great signature talk. The StoryBraid framework begins with an opening heart story. The opening heart story doesn't actually teach your content to the audience, it instead connects with the audience. You have 3 goals in the first few minutes of your presentation. You want to be ordinary, you want to be extraordinary, and you want to show your why. Ordinary means I'm just like you. I've walked in your shoes. I've worried about what you've worried about. I've been there. Extraordinary means I've solved some of these problems. I've done some things you haven't done. I have solutions for you. We've all heard speakers who are too extraordinary. They come out on stage and everything's just perfect. Their business is blowing the roof off the place. And at some point you're thinking, I don't know, can you work with me? I'm just getting started. We all have probably also heard speakers who are too ordinary. They come out on stage and say, I'm just like you. I struggle with what you struggle with. I'm declaring bankruptcy next week. And at some point we're wondering, well then, why are you on stage and I'm in the audience? It's the speaker who can actually do both, who can be both ordinary and extraordinary, who gets the highest number of people in the audience to want to engage with them after the presentation. The third thing you need to do is show your why. Nobody does that better than Pete Vargas. When he shares his story about how one stage changed his relationship with his dad forever, he is sharing his why in a way that connects with every audience he speaks to. And so in this opening heart sequence, you don't want to teach content. You want to be ordinary, just like the audience, extraordinary, show your credentials, and share your why so you can connect with the audience. The second part of the 4-part StoryBraid format is the content or head section of your presentation. In a traditional keynote presentation, this will be the longest part of your presentation, maybe 30 minutes. But the beauty of the StoryBraid format is that it works in a variety of different formats, online or offline, in a 45-minute keynote or in a 5-minute media interview, in a short Facebook Live or a long conversation with a friend at Starbucks. In the content or second section of the StoryBraid format, this is where you actually teach the audience something new. We don't believe in teasing the audience. We don't believe in spending the whole presentation just describing the problem, never giving them a solution. And we don't believe in bait and switch. I never think you should tell the audience, there's a solution, you just need to pay me for it. I believe when you have an opportunity to speak in front of 1 person or 1,000 people, you should help them. Help them with everything you have. Give them your best stuff. And some people worry and say, well, Pat, if I give them my best stuff, what will they buy from me? It's my experience that when you help the audience as much as you can in the time that you have, that the audience will want to engage with you after that the audience will come back again and again and again because you are actually offering real solutions. This is the head or content section of the presentation. And before I get to the third part of the StoryBraid format, which is the call to action, I want to encourage you in the head or content section of your presentation to embed your offer, to embed how people would work with you after they're done hearing you speak. See, a lot of people wait until the end of their presentation, to the call to action or the closing part of their presentation, to tell the audience how you could work with me further. And I think that's a mistake. That's a mistake because the human mind is good at one thing: categorizing information. We can tell storytelling from content. We listen to the storytelling with a different mind. We don't take notes. We don't listen to the details. We just listen for the main point. But content, we listen carefully. We take notes. We listen to all the details. Well, the one thing that the human mind can categorize faster than anything else is sales. And once the human mind recognizes that they're listening to sales, the brain switches, and you listen with a completely different mind. And you listen to content with a trusting mind, a believing mind, a note-taking mind. You listen to sales with a skeptical mind, an objection-raising mind, a mind that is looking for reasons to say no. Which is why you want to embed, as much as you possibly can, examples of how people work with you in the content section of your presentation. Don't save it for the end. By the time you finish the content section, the audience should already know how to work with you next. Which brings us to the third part of the 4-part StoryBraid format, and that is the call to action, or the hands section of your presentation. In the call to action, you actually tell the audience what you want them to do next and how they would do it. Now remember, this shouldn't be the first time they're hearing about it. They should have already heard about it in the content section of your presentation. But here at this portion of your talk, you should tell them, this is how you work with me next, and here's how you would sign up for that. And so I like to enter that part of my presentation with a grassroots transition by saying, one of the most common questions I get is, Pat, how can I work with you if I want to keep going? Or Pat, do you do this with individuals? And the answer is yes. And then I can tell them how I want to work with them next. Here's where you want to give them specific instructions on how they would work with you next and to overcome any objections or barriers. Some people would say when you're doing this, this is the place to offer them some bonuses. And remember, the best use of bonuses is to overcome their objections. If one of their objections is, I don't have time for this, offer a time-saving bonus. If one of their objections is, I don't have other people to do this with, offer them a community-building bonus. The best use of bonuses is to overcome their objections. All of this is done in the call to action or hands part of the presentation. But don't end your presentation there. There's one last part of the StoryBraid format, and that is the closing heart. You know, some speakers want to end their presentation with their call to action, and I think that's a mistake, because you have two types of decision makers in your audience: tactical decision makers and emotional decision makers. You know, I can tell by hearing a speaker speak whether they're a tactical decision maker or an emotional decision maker based on how they're closing with the audience. A tactical decision maker is all tactics. They'll tell you, I've got an online course. It's 8 lessons. Each lesson is 42 minutes long. The lessons are released Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. in the Eastern time zone. That's 3 p.m. in Central, 2 in the Mountain, 1 out in the Pacific. It's tactics, 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 tactics. And the emotional decision makers in the room are left high and dry. I can also tell when there's an emotional decision maker talking to the audience, because they won't give any tactics at all. They'll just stand up and say, it feels good. And the audience will be wondering, well, what is it? And they'll say, it doesn't matter. It just feels good. The speaker who gets the highest number of people to engage with them after the presentation is actually the speaker who can do both, who can tactically tell me what it is, and who can emotionally tell me how it will feel. Which is why you want to end your signature talk with an emotional close, an emotional story. Sometimes we'll finish our opening story, and sometimes we'll tell a completely different story that leads right to the emotion that we want. The important thing is to pick the emotion first. What emotion do you want the audience to feel at the end of your presentation? Take action? Stop procrastinating? Hire an expert? Change the status quo? Choose the emotion and then tell a personal, ordinary story that feeds that emotion. You know, when you think about the stories that you tell at both the opening and closing of your presentation, some people think, I don't have an extraordinary story. And I tell you, I coach someone who's climbed Mount Everest. I coach someone who's been in space. And when they stand up and tell those stories that they climbed to the top of Mount Everest or they've been in space, how many other audience members can relate to that? The answer is very few. But when you tell your ordinary stories, your stories of arguing about whether the toilet paper should come over the top or under the bottom, your stories of struggling to do something and trying again and again and then having success, when you tell your ordinary stories, more and more people can relate. What if we judged the stories that we told at the beginning and end of our presentation, not based on how many people came up to us afterwards and said, wow, that was an amazing story? What if instead we judged the stories that we told at the beginning and end of our presentation based on how many people came up to us and said, that same thing happened to me? Never apologize for your ordinary stories. I believe the more ordinary your stories are, the more powerful they are, because more of the audience can relate to them. When you put it all together, there's 4 parts to a great signature talk. An opening heart, a head or content section where you teach the audience something new, a hands or call to action, and a closing heart story where you connect again to your why and you let the audience know how they will feel when they work with you further. When you put it all together, you will have a great signature talk, one that may get you a standing ovation, one that will cause people to come up to you and say, wow, you're a great speaker, but most importantly, one that will cause the audience to want to need to engage with you after the presentation.
Wow, thanks, Pat. Hopefully you can see the power of the story braid. This framework is powerful and can be used anywhere. I was sharing with Pat, I just recently attended a Michael Hyatt event. You see, I get everything that Michael offers because of the fact that he's just helping me in my business. So I paid $1,000 to go to an event with Michael Hyatt. I was sitting in the crowd and Michael's director of marketing, Chad Cannon, sought me out. He came up to me and he actually said, Pete, I want to get to know you a little bit better on the break. I've heard incredible things about you. Chad asked me about what I did. And I used the story braid framework to share our process with him in 3 minutes. Next, I got an email. I went back to my seat and Chad and I connected deeply. I went back to my seat and I saw an email pop up and it was from his executive assistant. And she said, Chad wants to schedule a meeting with you next week. And so we got on the phone next week. And as you know, but they don't know, Michael Hyatt became a client of ours. And now we're helping Michael build a speaking team out so his message can be heard on a greater scale. But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story and the moral of the story is in 3-minute talk at an event that I was an attendee of. I still had a stage, Pat. I didn't have to be on the main stage. I was in the crowd and I literally did everything that you just taught. And now we have an incredible relationship with Michael Hyatt. What do you think about that?
Well, that's the power of the story braid format. Whether you're on stage, online, or just during a break at a networking event, or having a one-on-one conversation with somebody over the table at Starbucks, this format works to get continued engagement from your audience. It's something everyone should use every day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a framework that will transform how you communicate. Everything from big stages to one-on-one conversations. And so I'm really, really excited about this. Now it's your turn. Down below, there's a download of our story braid framework that Pat just taught you. I want you to download it and I want you to outline your talk and film it. Film it on your phone. It's never been easier to film it. And in the comments section down below, I want you to post your 3-minute talk down below in the comments. Last year, we had hundreds of people that took us up on this and said, it's time to step into the arena. But you'll be able to use this immediately. Like what we just taught you in this teaching, what Pat just taught you, my secret weapon is the one who's helped me. And he's forced me to begin to put myself out there 3 years ago. And now we want to challenge you to do the same. So you have a sales call coming up. You have a podcast coming up. You've got something coming up where you're on a stage in the near future, and we want to be able to help you inspire, educate, and convert greater than you ever have before. I've got some extra motivation for you. From all of the talks submitted, we are going to pick at least one winner who will get to go to our $9,800 Signature Talk Execution Workshop. They happen every single month in Milwaukee, where Pat will be coaching you like Pat has coached me. And to make it even better, we're gonna include all of your travel expenses, your flight, your hotels, your meals. We're at least gonna give this away to one of you. We might do more, but we're gonna announce the winner on an upcoming live stream here in the near future, which you will hear about. And everyone who comes to this workshop, like I said, is getting direct coaching from Pat. So remember, this is the guy that's helped me go from where I was to where I am today. Like, you can see the difference in that picture of the guy who was scared and timid and nervous to 3 years later, the guy that was confident on a stage of over 30,000 people. So to be eligible for this prize, your video link must be in the comments below this page. All of the details about the challenge are in the downloadable Signature Talk Framework handout down below this video. For some extra help, I wanna make sure that you join our Facebook group, because not only will you see me do my very first 3-minute talk on Brendon Burchard's stage, you will also see the video from last year's winner. It's a great example, and you can see that in our Facebook group. But remember, you have to post your 3-minute video down below, and you can see when that is due. Now, I know for a lot of you, this is really, really scary. And Pat, when I did my first few talks, it was really, really scary. But this is 3 minutes, and this is something that's really gonna help them in a powerful way. And so what would you say to all of those saying, should I submit my 3-minute video?
The answer is absolutely yes. The first time you do it won't be the best time you do it, but you can't have your second time until you've done it the first time. My favorite quote is Teddy Roosevelt saying, "The credit belongs to the one who is actually in the arena." And when you watch these videos pop up below, you're gonna see people step into the arena. The credit belongs to the one who actually gets out their phone and films their 3-minute video. And so submit those videos. We're gonna have a chance to look at them, give you some feedback, and we're gonna start improving your signature talk right now.
So although there's gonna be one technical winner, everybody's gonna win. Whether you've never given a talk, you've given a couple of talks, or you've given a lot of talks, as you post this, you're putting yourself into the arena, and we're gonna be watching those, and we're gonna be commenting on those around some of the highlights and some of maybe the biggest takeaways for you. In the next piece of our workshop, we're gonna bring the entire system together and share our complete stage to scale blueprint and show you how to generate more revenue and more reach from every stage you're on. The great Zig Ziglar said, "I've never changed someone's life from a speaking gig, but if they buy my tapes and cassettes, I have a shot at changing their lives." We are gonna go deeper into how to scale the stage. One of our clients, John Rulin, was starting to demand high keynote fees, but this is where the stage ended, with the fee. He knew enough about our system to know that he had a bigger opportunity to impact people's lives. And he worked with us one-on-one and went through the entire process of learning the Signature Talk framework that Pat just taught you. John quickly realized through this process that he had left tens of millions of dollars on the table the last several years of his business, but he said, not anymore. What was John doing wrong? He didn't have his talk designed in the same way that we just showed you how to design your talk. Since restructuring his talk, he's killing it from stage and making a bigger impact. He said the response from the people in the crowd was overwhelming. I have never had a response like that before. And so many of those people went deeper with him in his products and services, and he's now able to impact more people's lives after he is done with the stage. We hear repeatedly from so many of our students that they've left thousands on the table, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even millions of dollars on the table from not having the greatest marketing tool in their business dialed in. But even bigger than the revenues is the impact that they're not having on the people in their audience. This tool will be a game changer for you, and it's what will get people in the audience to go deeper with you. I first realized the power of scaling the stage back in 2003 and what that meant with our first client, Daryl Scott, and his nonprofit, Rachel's Challenge. He had a product that changed the climate and culture of schools, but he was struggling to get schools to pay for it. And he was trying everything he could think of to get it into schools. He was trying this and that and this and that, and nothing was working. Then we tried Stages. Our system won him his first dream stage that was full of educators. These were the decision makers within schools. And by the end of that presentation, there were hundreds of people who turned their contact information in and wanted to learn more about his program. Over the next few weeks, dozens and dozens of schools signed up for Daryl's program. At that time, it was a $3,000 program, which made his stage worth multiple six figures. So in that one day, on that one stage, they generated more revenues than the entire previous year. All of a sudden, one stage completely changed the trajectory for Rachel's Challenge. You are only one stage away from transforming your business and your life. Today, I'm joining you from the audience because this is where you meet the people, the hearts and the minds you're connecting with, the lives that you will change if you understand how to scale a stage. In the Why Stages workshop, you found and won your dream stage. You've mapped your signature talk. Today, we're diving deep into the third step of our blueprint, scaling past the stage. This is where you generate the revenue and create a lasting impact. You may be thinking, I'm not a motivational speaker, Pete. I don't have an inspirational message. This isn't about a motivational speaker. Over 16 years ago, one man on a stage helped reconcile my relationship with my dad. But the impact Stages have made in my life does not stop there. My financial planner, my personal trainer, my faith, and how my wife Kim and I parent, I've learned how to invest, how to market, how to be a better husband, all of this from hearing someone on a stage and then choosing to go deeper with them through their products and services. Stages have impacted every area of my life. None of these people were motivational speakers. They were people like you and me who had a message and a way for you and me to go deeper with them. Over the last 16 years, we've developed a comprehensive step-by-step system that includes everything you need to know to build your business or grow your movement through Stages. We've tested it, optimized it, and used it in our own business and taken it to thousands of our clients. Some people teach a piece of our system. We are the only company that teaches you the entire A to Z to grow your business with Stages. You may have questions like, I don't know what I'm supposed to offer, or what do I sell, or what does scaling past the stage even mean? Scale is offering products and services that go beyond the stage. If you have scale, then the stage is not the ending point, it's only the beginning. When most people think about making money through Stages, they think about what they can make from a $5,000 or a $10,000 keynote fee, and that's it. The truth is, if you properly scale past the stage, you can earn 10 to 20 times more than you ever make with the keynote fee, which can be up to 6 and 7 figures in new business from one stage. And we're gonna show you examples in a bit on how that's possible. There are 3 simple steps to scaling a stage: create, collect, convert. So the first step is creating your products and your services. Some of you may have no products today. That's okay. Whereas some of you have a product, but it's not doing as well as you want it to, or it's underpriced. And then there's others of you that have a product and it's cranking, it's doing really good, and it's time for you to build a secondary product. There are 8 ways to scale past any online or offline stage, but you only need one. If you don't have one, don't worry, because I'm going to show you how to create yours fast. And if you have one already, this is the perfect chance to create your next scaling product. So what are the 8 ways? The first way to scale a stage is to do more speaking on bigger stages where you earn higher keynote fees. We don't want you to be on a bunch of stages and be a road warrior. So how do you get on bigger, better stages and get paid more? The second way to scale past the stage is sponsorships. Do you realize that there are billions of dollars given away every single year to sponsor keynotes, events, your products, your services? We've seen one sponsorship deal that was in excess of $1 million for year 1 and $1 million for year 2. This is the second way to scale past the stage. The third way to scale past the stage is fundraising for a cause or nonprofit, or even for those of you out there that want to raise funds for a for-profit endeavor. So stages are an excellent way to raise money, as we've seen hundreds of thousands of dollars and even millions of dollars raised from one stage. One of our students, Brett, has an amazing nonprofit called New Story. And Brett got the opportunity to be on one stage in front of 1,000 people. And because he was so clear on the way that he wanted to scale past the stage with his fundraising, he saw over $1 million raised on that one stage. And I don't even think he had an entire hour. He did more on one stage in front of 1,000 people than most 501c3 nonprofits do in a year or years. And you see, it's not about the $1 million. It's about the hundreds and hundreds of homes that his nonprofit was able to build in third world countries because of that money. So scaling past the stage is not just about the money, but the money allows you to be able to have the impact on the lives of your people. Well, Pete, I don't have a nonprofit. Well, our students are using stages to raise money for their for-profits to be able to gain the money they want for real estate propositions. So it's not just for nonprofit fundraising. There are lots of for-profits that are also trying to use stages as a way to fundraise. The fourth way in scaling past the stage is training and consulting. After hearing you on a stage, people will hire you to come train for one day. And if you do a good job training that one day, they'll ask you to come back and consult for multiple months or longer. And you see, the beautiful thing about these is they're 10 and 20 and 30 times what you might get for a speaking fee for these training and consulting deals. We have people that literally from one consulting deal are landing multiple 6 figures from one consulting deal. The fifth way to scale past the stage, and one of my favorite, is digital products, which can really scale to the masses. I believe every one of you have this genius, and this genius that lives inside of you, and I want to pull that genius out and allow it to be in a digital course that can scale to as many people as you can get it into their hands. You build it one time, and now you can have the masses come in. The sixth way to scale past the stage is services or service-based businesses. Technology services, marketing services, financial services, and so many other service-based business owners are customers of ours because they do all of the traditional marketing, but yet when they begin to put themselves on stages, it sets them apart from the competition. So maybe some of you today need to start a service-based company. The seventh way to scale past the stage is by running your own events, your live events, your workshops, and so much more. Our workshops and our big live events are filled by being on other people's stages. We have over 1,000 people that are coming to all of our events every single year, and so many of them are coming as a result of us being on other people's stages. There's several of you out there today that need to begin to build your own events. And the 8th way to scale past the stage is through coaching and masterminds. And this is one of the quickest ways to begin to generate revenues for your business. So these are the 8 ways that you can scale past the stage, and all you need is one primary area in your business in order to scale the stage. You see, our primary way is in-person events, workshops that help people get things done. Next, we added masterminds and coaching. And also, we have a 3rd way now in our business, which is digital courses. But Pete, how do you know there are 8 ways? Like, how do you know that? Over the past 15 years, we have helped our students scale past the stage, and we've seen them succeed using these 8 ways. But Pete, I don't have a product yet to scale past the stage with. At one point, I didn't either. And at the beginning, we took way too long to create a product. But then we figured out how to create a course in less than a week. You see, too many people take way too long or think about it way too much and get nothing out into the market. You see, one of my good friends, Hal Elrod, had been trying to create a course for over 5 years. He'd been telling himself he would do it for 5 years. And then he came across our path, and what I taught Hal is what I'm teaching you today. We said, Hal, let us help create your Miracle Morning course, and we will do it in 1 day. And we did exactly that. We helped him create his Miracle Morning course in 1 day, and now that course sells hundreds of units every single month. You see, you can create any product quickly, and it doesn't have to take a lot of time. I had a student of ours and one of our partners, Lance Wallnow, he was running an event. And he had gotten people to come to this event with ticket sales and so much more. And I went to dinner with him that night and I said, Lance, you do have some type of mastermind. And he said, no, I don't. I have nothing. We just have the ticket sales to this event. And that night, we created a mastermind. So after we designed it, the next day, right before lunch, he presented it to the audience and he saw just shy of $500,000 come in. It took us a few hours to design his scaling offer, and he launched it 10 hours later. Do you see how easily you could create something to make sure you have an offer that the audience needs? If you're realizing right now how much money you've left on the table, you're in good company. I've heard this from so many folks: Grant Cardone, John Ruhlin, Frank Shamrock, Brad Lee, and the list goes on and on. But just like that changed for them, it's going to change for you too. So which product is your first or next scaling product? A course? A mastermind? A new coaching program? A consulting offer? Or one of the other 4 that we just talked about? Let's get it done. Now on to the second step, step 2 of scaling, which is collecting the names of the people sitting in the audience. Imagine you have 100 people in the audience. How can you connect with them after the stage? How do you go deeper with them? How do they go deeper with you? You go deeper with them by collecting their names, and this is the in-person version of an opt-in. Now, why are they going to give you their names? Because you're going to do 2 things for them. Number 1, you're going to give them a free gift that gets them a quick win in their life. We talked about this in the second video, helping them move from A to B and not A to Z. And the second thing you're gonna do is you're gonna put a contact card on every one of their seats. And this is what you use to collect their contact information. You may be wondering, why use a contact card instead of getting them to opt in online? And the short answer is, that works great for online stages. But with offline stages, we have seen a much higher conversion rate with a physical contact card. Don't get me wrong, you can have options available for them to opt in through a website or through text message, but we've seen the contact card work best. Once you do this, you're gonna see 70, 80, or even 90% of them opt in. And not only will you capture a large percentage, but the quality of those leads are so much higher than a lead that you will ever get online. I was with Jeff Walker, one of the greatest internet marketers out there and the creator of Product Launch Formula, and we were driving around and he told me, Pete, that lead is at least 10 times greater than any lead you can get online. So we talked about creating a product suite, collecting their names. Now I want to talk about the third and final part of scaling a stage, which is converting. You've now created a product suite. You've now collected 80% of their names. It's now time to convert them. And so what does it look like and what does it take to convert? It is simple. For the 5 to 7 days after the stage, it is important to follow up through email, phone, and even social media. And after we follow up with the people in the audience, we often see 10 to 15 and even as high as 20% of them go deeper with you in your products and services. And when they go deeper in your products and services, you actually change their lives. Let's go back to the example that I talked about. There's 100 people sitting in the audience. 80% of them gave you their information, so you have 80 new opt-ins. What if you converted 10% of them to go deeper with you? You would have 8 new customers. What would that look like for your business? What if you converted 15 or 20%? What would that look like for your business if you had 12 or even 16 new customers? So the third part of scaling is the follow-up system that puts you in place after you're done with the stage. The stage is not the ending point, it's only the beginning point. It's the main way you can really make impact and income with stages. In January of 2018, I shared the stage with Michael Phelps and Howie Mandel, and both of their keynote fees were 6 figures, much bigger than our keynote fee. But we had our first 7-figure stage because of having a product suite that we had created, collecting people's information and converting those people to go deeper with us. This was only made possible from implementing this 3-step system of scaling a stage. Earlier, I shared one of my favorite quotes from the great Zig Ziglar. He said, "I've never changed someone's life from a stage, but if they buy my tapes and cassettes, I've got a shot at changing their lives." Over the past year, I've become friends with Zig's son, Tom. And Tom told me that where that quote came from is his dad was getting all of these testimonials. And 100 testimonials had come in from people after Zig had done some type of business with them. And Zig's secretary separated them, and there was one in this pile, and there were 99 in this pile. And the one in this pile said, "Zig, you changed my life when I heard you on a stage." And the other 99 that came in from him after going through one of Zig's tapes or his cassettes or his programs said, "Zig, you changed my life when I got to consume your program." So not only are stages the fastest way to attract customers, stages are the fastest way to make a deep impact on your customers. Hearing this from Zig's son, Tom, confirmed what I already knew for the past 15 years of being in business. You have a moral obligation to scale past the stage, and giving people the opportunity to go deeper with you is how you will change their lives. One of my students and close friends, Chandler Bolt, started his business online. He didn't think stages would be powerful for him, and he even had mentors discourage him from using stages. Early in 2018, he decided to give it a try. His first stage was right in his backyard. He was able to drive there and be in front of 27 chiropractors. 27. 9 of them went deeper with him, and it generated close to $20,000 in revenues for him. It doesn't take a stage of 1,000 or even 100 people to change your business and your life. That stage showed him the power of stages. Shortly after that, he had his first 6-figure week. He was on 3 stages within a week and generated over 6 figures within 7 days. By the end of 2018, he did 24 stages and generated over $1 million in total revenues from those stages. He said, there is no faster way to go from zero to customer without all the tech, the headaches, the frustration, and the wasting of years of your life blogging and doing so many other things. Now, you might be thinking there are a million ways you can grow your business. And you're right. There are so many bright, shiny objects out there. I've tried them all and failed early on in my business with almost all of them. But stages are the fastest and most predictable way to acquire customers. There is always a new trendy tactic to grow your business. Messenger bots and Snapchat and IGTV. And I'm not saying those things are wrong. We do them, but there's a right time to do those things. But until your business has a steady stream of customers, stages are what you should be doing. Because these other tactics are trends that are constantly shifting. Stages, however, have been around for thousands of years and work in every type of economy. All you need is a full system that is fully baked, proven, predictable, and implementable. You don't have to figure out the system. It's right here for you. Recently, I was on a stage in California, not even the main stage. It was a breakout with 110 people in the room. 110. We had 105 of them give us their contact information. This system I just taught you works. Well, yeah, Pete, it works. You collected their names, but what happened after that? The result was 35 of them bought a $7,000 program of ours. 110 people, 105 of them gave us their names, and 35 of them became customers. We've been implementing this for over 15 years. Those numbers are high because we've perfected the system for ourselves. But what do we see on average? We see people speak in front of 100 folks. We see them collect 80 people's information. And out of those 80 names, we see 8, 10, maybe even 15 new clients come as a result. Think of the compounding effect this can have on your business every time you speak, on an online stage, on an offline stage. What if you can build a predictable system that collects their contact information at 80%, does a great job of following up with them, and ending up converting 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20% of them as customers? How would that transform your business and your life? And now I want you to download the worksheet down below. It is a powerful worksheet that's going to illustrate to you what it's going to look like for you to scale the stage. The first part of this, now we're imagining that you're in front of 100 people because we talked about how one stage of 100 people can be game changer for you. So you're in front of 100 people. What is the area that you're going to create in your business to make sure that they can scale past the stage with you? Not 2, 3, or 4 areas, one area. So pick one of the 8 down below. The second thing we want you to do is now you're going to collect their information. What's the name of your free gift that you're going to give to them? And then the last piece, the third piece, is now it's time for them to go deeper with you. What's the price of your program? We've given you some examples of what pricing can look like. Name your price of what you're going to charge for your program. And we give you some guidance on this. Pick your price. And maybe you currently have pricing. And I want you to multiply that. You're going to see that you're going to attract 8 new customers. We're being conservative. And that's going to help you arrive at what the value of your stage, of one stage with 100 people, will be. So download this worksheet, do the work, and I want to know what it is that you picked. What's the area that you picked that you're going to scale past the stage with? And I want you to tell us the value of every stage that you're on. Those two things I want you to put in the comment section. I will be reviewing all of them and celebrating with you. I started this stage journey in 2003, and for 13 years, I did it for everybody else. I was the wizard behind the curtain, using stages to grow other people's businesses and other people's movements, and they grew quickly. We grew people into 5 figures and 6 figures and 7 figures, and even have some of our clients that are in the 8 figures using stages. This is Stages at Work, growing people's businesses in all industries, all niches. And then I felt compelled to impact more people, and knew the only way to do that was to teach our system to as many people like yourself as I could. I wanted and still want to be the guide to getting you and your business the results as quickly as possible. So I had to step out from behind the curtain. I know what you might be wondering, because the fear monster does the same thing for you that he did for me. Will this really work for me? Can this work? It worked for everybody else, but there's no way it's gonna work for me. And what I want you to know is not only did it work for me, but it'll absolutely work for you too. We're opening up our complete Stage to Scale method system next week, and it's only open until next Friday at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. If you want to get in early and get access to the exclusive bonuses, we are hosting a live masterclass this Sunday night. And in this masterclass, we're gonna go deeper into the exact campaign that we use to book 25,000 stages and take you step by step on that. Pat Quinn, my secret weapon, is gonna be sharing the 15 key components of a high converting signature talk. And we are going to be giving away our step-by-step blueprint to our complete system to everybody that attends. If you are behind in this training series, don't worry. This is a standalone training that will cover what you missed. And if you've followed along and have completed every exercise so far, get excited, because we have so much more to share with you. You can see all of the details on registering below, so get registered, because we really truly do have limited space. I told you at the very beginning of this workshop about the man who changed my relationship with my dad. But that wasn't the only time my life was changed by a person on a stage. The first time that I heard Adam Way on a stage, small little stage of 8 to 10 people, and he talked about the power of your finances. And I thought to myself, what does this guy do? And he was a financial advisor. And after hearing him speak, he became my financial advisor, because I needed somebody to help me understand how to grow my finances. The first time that I heard Susie and Tyler Merrick on a small stage, in a small group at my church, I thought to myself, I want everything they have to offer. And it was all about their faith in God. The first time that I heard Ryan Deiss, the guru of digital marketing, on a stage talk about this power of digital marketing and how you can reach more people, I thought to myself, I know nothing about this world of digital marketing. This guy is brilliant. He's genius. And a big reason why you are here today is because of Ryan's influence in my life. I spent tens of thousands of dollars with Ryan and still continue to invest in Ryan today. And it all started from a stage. The first time I heard Garrett Gunderson on a stage, Garrett was in front of thousands of people. And my wife and I were sitting there. And this guy talked about investing and understanding how to grow your wealth and do all of these things that we weren't currently doing. And my wife and I looked at each other and I thought, babe, this guy is awesome. We've got to do more with him. I bought all of Garrett's programs, and he's helped us so much understand how to create wealth in our lives. And then there was David Eaton and Jeremiah Callahan in the faith-based world, speaking on a stage, talking about how you communicate with your kids in this world of technology and pop culture and multimedia. And they're talking, and my wife and I are like, wow, we want to understand how to communicate with our 4 kids more powerfully. Not only did we buy all of their programs, we invested in their nonprofit. Financial services, faith, digital marketing, parenting. This works in every niche. It works in every industry, and it can work for anyone, including you. So click below and download the worksheet and get that done, but make sure to sign up for our masterclass. You can do that down below, because this masterclass is going to bring everything together. So make sure you register for that right now.